Hello, welcome. Today I'm gonna talk about testosterone. I will try to give you some tips on how to boost your sexual energy, your immune and immunity, and why testosterone is so important for these three things and more, as we're gonna see during this presentation. And I call it testosterone, as we can turn it on and off with our food choices and with our lifestyle. So first, I'm gonna start telling you that the disclaimer: if you have any medical issue, check with your doctor. This is just a presentation, and everything that I will tell you, please check it after the presentation. Check the references, check the notes of the video, so that you make sure that what you're gonna do an experiment will work on you. So the contents, we're gonna talk about first a little bit of my personal experience with this hormone, and a little bit of testosterone during the human history. What is testosterone? Why it's important? Where it's produced? The cause and symptoms that we can realize. We can see how our levels are not optimal without the need of a medical check. How to raise the levels naturally. Then final thoughts and Q&A. That won't be the video. If you're seeing this through YouTube, on my website, any other channel, please want to see your feedback, some comments. So I'm gonna start with my personal experience as regards testosterone. So in these past few years, I changed radically my diet, my lifestyle. Everything was pretty healthy. I had what is called a perfect diet. I tracked everything was clean, good quality food. I exercised a lot, 1 hour a day, 2 hours, up to 3 hours a day sometimes, which I thought it was really beneficial for my body composition, but it wasn't so good for the testosterone, as I will show you in the presentation. I also started doing yoga and meditation, and my stress levels were almost zero. I felt that I had no stress at all, but I didn't realize, or I didn't notice, that my testosterone levels were starting to decrease gradually, and until I heard a podcast talking about this, and there, boom, my light bulb went on, and realized that I was having an issue with this hormone. So doing the things that I will explain you here, I could raise my testosterone levels to a normal range, and my life changed completely. So let me talk just briefly about testosterone in human history. Basically, the human body and the human mind is designed and programmed for two things: for survival and for procreation. So after we can survive and all our needs are covered in the survival, then the body is designed for procreate. That's why we need this hormone, testosterone. It's really important for our sexual system. So at that time, let's say 10,000 years ago, testosterone was really important, because women at that time, they will choose a man with high testosterone levels. They wouldn't know, they wouldn't say, oh, you have high, you have low, but they could feel it, they could realize, and in this way they will procreate and have kids. Otherwise we wouldn't be here. So that's why it's important, the role of testosterone through all our evolution. And what it's important, the human, as I told you, human body and human brain is exactly the same as many thousands of years ago. What changed is the environment. We have much more, technology and whatever, everything is easier, but at the same time the body has the same kind of reactions to different stimuli, like we're going to see stress, cortisol, and some other things with our lifestyle that can affect our testosterone levels. So this is a chart that says how many testosterone is available in men in the last few years. So this is 1987 to 1989, 1995 to 1997, and 2000 to 2005. Again, there's just numbers. This is nanograms per deciliter. And you can see how the testosterone levels are decreasing gradually. The blue is total testosterone, and this one is bioavailable testosterone. That would be the free testosterone. So, and again, this is 2005. I guess if we have the number nowadays, it's much smaller. We are in the time in history where our testosterone levels are the lowest ever. That's why it's really important to become aware of this issue, especially for men. So this is an important question. It's a hard question, as I say, that you have to ask yourself and start being aware. If you do you wake up every morning or almost every morning with an erection? That's a sign of normal or high testosterone levels. If this is not happening, well, for sure that your testosterone levels are low. I experienced it with myself, then with the science behind, and with many people that I've been working with. And this is the first step to realizing that our testosterone levels are not on a normal range. So which one is a normal range? Well, this range is really wide. So as you can see here, in males is between 270 and 1000 nanograms per deciliter. So maybe you are in the normal range, but in the lower part, and we will try to increase it or try to be as close as the higher part as possible. And again, you don't need to take a medical check. If you want to do it, go for it if you want to make sure, but you will see here the signs and the symptoms that show that your testosterone levels might be under this range. So I'm gonna start explaining what is testosterone. It's the primary male sex hormone. It's also present in women, but in a lower amount. Women also need it, but not as much as male. What's the thing about testosterone? Well, it's the responsible for the male sexual characteristics such as deep voice, facial hair that I don't have that much, and sex drive that, well, are different characteristics on different males. And during sleep, our testosterone levels start to rise and reaching the maximum level around 5 a.m. That will depend on what time and where do you live, what time you sleep, and what time you wake. But approximately this time, testosterone is produced. That's why it's also important the quality of the sleep. So again, this is a normal range. Where is testosterone produced? As you may all know, it's produced in our testes, but even though it's produced here, the process for me starts outside with our lifestyle and with our food that we will see now. So if you have any symptoms or signs that I will show you here, you might be lacking testosterone, or you may have an issue, but for sure if you have some of this or all, it's because your testosterone levels are low. So number one, lack of energy and motivation. If you feel like this every day in a prolonged period of time, your testosterone levels might be low. Bad mood, if you get easily irritated for whatever, again, probably testosterone is low. Coldness, no interest in sexual partners. When you feel like it's the same, either going out or staying with a woman or staying at home. The other day I was talking with a friend and he told me, there was some period in my life that I would prefer rather stay at home playing video games than dating a woman. So well, that's an important sign of low testosterone. And then, of course, the erectile capacity. So if your erections are not long in a prolonged period of time, or they are not too strong, you get difficulty to reaching a good erection, well, for sure that's another sign of low testosterone. So which can be the causes, or which probably be the causes for this? First one, sedentary lifestyle and stress. Cortisol, as I mentioned here, let me see, I don't include it, I will show you on this image. I forgot to add it here. So imagine stress and cortisol as the enemy of testosterone. So the higher the stress and the cortisol, the lower the testosterone. That's why it's really important. Another thing that works in the same proportion, is like a testosterone killer, is estrogen. So cortisol and estrogen are the enemies, let's say, of testosterone. That's why with sedentary lifestyle, having high amounts of stress, we raise our cortisol and our testosterone levels go down. Another really important aspect is either smoking or consuming alcohol. Why alcohol? Because of two things. It's estrogenic, so again, it's killing testosterone, and alcohol produces dehydration. Alcohol is the worst for all of the processes around the body, but as we are talking about testosterone, we need water. We need to be well hydrated to produce it. So every time we're drinking alcohol, we're doing the opposite. So don't drink alcohol, or drink the least possible. Then this is also really important, endocrine disruptors. I have another video talking a little bit more in detail about this, but just a quick explanation. Endocrine disruptors are chemical compounds that mimic the function of our hormones. So they get inside the body as if you have a virus on the computer, something like that. They start to alter the normal functioning of the body. And why this is so important? Because they are almost everywhere. One of the most common sources of endocrine disruptors are BPAs present in plastic. So when plastic is heated, either a plastic bottle of water, or when you heat your food in a Tupperware in the microwave, we release BPAs. They go to the food or to the water. That goes inside our body and inside our cells. So that's why we should avoid as more as possible. Another common source are cosmetics. So for example, shampoo, toothpaste, the creams that we use in our body, soaps, deodorants, all these chemical products are they have plenty of endocrine disruptors. So the advice here, if you are using now, okay, just throw them away and go for organic. I have an article also on my website, how to make really easy and simple with ingredients like coconut oil, like baking soda, many other things that can replace all these chemical compounds. Imagine, let's say, 1,000 years ago, not going so far in history, people didn't have this kind of chemicals. They just used whatever was available to clean the body, and they were alive. So these ones are really bad for many things in the body. They can either cause some cancer issues, but talking about testosterone, they kill our testosterone. So again, start to read the ingredients, and when you see the ingredients of these chemicals, you will find many chemical compounds that you have no idea what are them. So then just Google them and you will see how they affect your body. And another important cause of lack of testosterone is lack of sleep. Well, we know already the importance of sleep. Can cause, if we don't sleep properly for a prolonged period of time, can cause us stress, can cause us take bad choices during the day as regards food, as regards exercise. So it's everything related. So sleep is really important, and lack of sunlight. This is a really common issue, especially in Western countries, in countries that the winter is cold, so people don't go out that much. Why we need sunlight? Well, basically it's vitamin D that is free. Just get it from the sun, and it's crucial in the production of testosterone and many other different health benefits. So get sunlight as much as possible. The advice is get more sunlight during as soon as the sun rises and as soon as the sun goes down. That's a really good time to get sunlight. And another important cause that we will focus mainly on this is the diet. The food we put inside our mouth has tremendous effects on the testosterone production. So the first one that you will, if you have seen my other videos, in all of my videos I talk about processed oil and inflammation. Which are processed oils? All the vegetable oils like cottonseed oil, canola oil, sunflower oil, many of these kind of oils. Again, they're produced in factories. They are not natural, they're chemical. What's the problem? They produce chronic inflammation, a disbalance between omega-3s and 6s. These industrial oils are too high in omega-6s that will cause chronic inflammation. This is terrible for, again, all of the processes in the body, but especially for production of testosterone. Also, high sugar intake. Well, it's connected. Most of the cookies, candies, sweets, all of these industrial foods that they come in a package. Again, I have a video just talking about this. They're processed oil and sugar. So if you consume them regularly, they high levels of inflammation, constant high levels of insulin. That's what will make your testosterone levels go down. Another cause with the diet, low fat and cholesterol intake. Again, this is a huge myth. I have another video talking about this, but just a quick explanation. Fat and cholesterol are essential for our hormones and especially for the production of testosterone. So we will see which kind of fats and which are the best sources to get these fats and cholesterol. And this one is also important, that was my personal experience, what was causing me this lack of testosterone, which is a prolonged caloric deficit or maintaining low body fat percentage through a prolonged period of time. When I tell you my personal experience at the beginning of the presentation, I had my body fat between 6 and 7, which is really low, and it's dangerous to keep it for a prolonged period of time. And at that time, I didn't know it. So what I mean by a prolonged caloric deficit? Well, that for many months you are eating less than what you should. So your body kind of get used to, but your hormones cannot work properly. And I've seen this the last time working with many clients. So this is really important as well. So as I told you, your diet might be perfect, you have no stress, but doing this for a long period of time might cause low testosterone levels. So I don't want you to understand this graph, which is kind of difficult to understand, but just want to show you the relationship between cholesterol and how it's broken down into testosterone. That's why it's really important, and again, it's one of the hugest myths in human history and nutrition, the role of cholesterol and the importance that it has in testosterone. So what are the health risks of all the causes that I mentioned before? Well, not only that you don't have a sexual energy, but you might have some of this. So low testosterone levels are linked with obesity, with high blood pressure, with diabetes, of course erectile dysfunction, bone fragility, and chronic fatigue. So it's really important to have our testosterone levels optimized. So these are some signs and some health risks of low testosterone, but many people, this is also important, the increased size of breast tissue. This is actually a disease that you might see men with women's boobs. That's because high levels of estrogens, low levels of testosterone. So this is a real issue, and you can see it on our everyday life. So there are two kind of fixes, let's say, to this issue. One is through a medical procedure that I don't recommend because it's kind of new and I really don't know the effects that can have on the long term in our health. And what's the thing with these medical procedures? That when we start to get testosterone from outside, our body stops producing. It's like let's say, gets lazy or too comfortable and doesn't produce its own. It's used to get it from the outside. That's why I usually recommend a natural approach. So we give the body the raw material, and our body by its own will produce testosterone, and is much healthy, cheaper, and safe. So we'll see now, especially focusing on the diet, but also some tips about sleep, exercise, and reducing stress that will help increasing our testosterone to normal or high ranges. So I told you, food choices and lifestyle to put our testosterone switch on. So with the food and diet, again, as I was telling you before, we have to increase healthy fats, saturated fats, and cholesterol. While I was doing a couple of years ago doing the research, I found out this picture with, again, you don't need to understand, but you can see the relationship between cholesterol and testosterone. You see the molecules are pretty similar. That's what caught my attention, and then making more research, I understand the relationship. They're related, so we need to get cholesterol from our diet, even though our body can produce by itself, but by giving an extra cholesterol will boost our testosterone levels. Saturated fats and healthy fats like nuts, seeds, extra virgin olive oil, coconut oil, omega-3s from fish, they are good sources of fat, but for the testosterone, we'll try to focus on cholesterol. Then, as I mentioned before, reduce all the kind of pro-inflammatory food. More than reduce, I would say eliminate, take them away. Bad quality oils and sugars, also alcohol, again, everything we have to remove it. We see all the health risks that can be happening because of this kind of foods. And then this is important. So we have 3 minerals, 1 vitamin, and adaptogen herbs that can boost our testosterone levels, and they're all natural. We can get them through food, and that's what I will explain you now. First one, adaptogen herbs. I will probably do a video talking in detail about this, but short explanation. Adaptogenic herbs are, for example, you have ashwagandha that comes in India. Here in Thailand we have tonkat ali. You can either find the plant, you can have powder, or you can find pills. Of course, better if you can have the plant or the powder. How they work, what's their benefit? Usually they reduce cortisol, and by reducing cortisol, they also help us to sleep better, so they increase testosterone, and they are natural, and they have no contraindications, not any health risk. So that's why if you want to boost your testosterone, I usually recommend ashwagandha, tonkat ali here in Asia, or in South America you can find maca root. Again, there are plenty of other adaptogens, but these going to work best for testosterone. And then we'll go in detail into these minerals and vitamin E. So the 3 minerals we want to focus today are zinc, selenium, and magnesium. We'll see which are the best food sources that contain these minerals. So we're going to start talking about zinc. So what's the minimum intake of zinc that we should get is 11 milligrams per day. But if you're low in testosterone, I would suggest that you take much more, up to 50 milligrams per day can be a good option. So here we can see which are the best sources per 100 grams of food of zinc. So first one are oysters. They have 40 milligrams per 100 grams of oyster, which is quite a lot. But what's the problem with oysters? That they're kind of expensive, and it's difficult that we consume them on a regular basis. If it's on your budget and you can do it, awesome, go for it. Eat oysters as much as possible. Then we have animal liver with 11 milligrams. Again, this is just 100 grams, but usually we might eat more in just a single meal. So any animal liver, either beef, pork, chicken, depending the country where you are, it's going to be, there will be different options, but liver is a great option for zinc. Then we have dark chocolate. Make sure dark chocolate is 85% or more cacao, as it's lower in sugar. Then we have crab, we have beef, we have cheddar, we have shrimp, and we have eggs with a lower amount of zinc. So these three may be a good option to boost your zinc levels. Here we see pictures of these foods. This one is really important, and you might not heard so much about it. Well, selenium is involved in many reactions in the body, especially the sexual hormones, and also for the thyroid function. So if you have any issues with your thyroid and your testosterone, might be a lack of selenium. Why? Because it's really difficult to get it from the food as well. It's not so common. The minimum intake for men is 55 micrograms. So if you want to boost your testosterone, I would recommend up to 200 micrograms per day, approximately. And which are the best sources? Number one and the champion in selenium are Brazil nuts. Are these nuts over here that they're kind of expensive, but I would suggest you incorporate to your diet because they're packed with selenium and it's super easy. You just take 2 or 3, 4, then we'll see the amount. Easy every day, and no need to cook as all these other options. So if you want to boost your testosterone, selenium, Brazil nuts. So you can see only one unit contains between 70 and 100 micrograms. So they're packed with selenium. 100 grams contain almost 2,000, which might be quite a lot. If you go too low or super high, it can be dangerous. So be aware of that. Then we have oysters one more time. Again, if you can eat them, amazing. Otherwise, choose the other options. Liver, again, tuna, a good source of selenium, and eggs. Even though the number might be low, but just one egg contains almost 20 micrograms. So with 2 eggs, which are 100 grams, we get half of the minimum amount of selenium. So eggs, again, a good option for boosting our testosterone, cholesterol, zinc, selenium. Then we go with magnesium. Magnesium is not only important for testosterone production, it's also involved in the muscle contraction and muscle relaxation. That's why I usually recommend people get a good amount of magnesium. This is the minimum requirement, but if you are an athlete or you are physically active, I would recommend you go to the higher range or even higher, between 600 and 700 milligrams per day. That's why with magnesium I usually recommend taking a supplement. If you can get it with the food, awesome, but what's the problem? Usually these numbers are not so accurate as our soils have been depleted of magnesium. That's why usually the supplement is easier and you are making sure that you are getting the whole range that you need. But again, if you can eat these foods on regular basis, will help you with your magnesium intake. So pumpkin seeds, almonds, dark chocolate, spinach, and tuna. What's the thing? Even though they're not, I encourage you to eat these foods, but for getting the minimum intake of magnesium, you might take 100 grams of pumpkin seeds. That for some people might be a lot, and adding many extra calories. That's why, again, in this particular case, a magnesium supplement can be a good option. So here are the foods that can help us with our magnesium. And the last one is vitamin A. And here why I separate between retinol and beta carotene, because retinol is the form of vitamin A in animal foods, and beta carotene is the source in vegetable foods, in plants. And what's the difference? That beta carotene has to be turned into retinol to be absorbed by the body, and in this transformation, let's say, it's not so efficient, so effective, so it's not these numbers might not be so accurate. So if you're looking for vitamin A, of course you can eat this if they're in your diet, they're awesome, but try to focus on animal sources, which are the best sources. So you can see the minimum amount is 900 micrograms per day, and here eating 100 grams of liver, you see it's like 15 times the minimum requirement. So liver is a great source. Again, zinc, vitamin A is a real superfood. Then we have some dairy products that will, depending on the product, can be between 100 and 300 micrograms. Then we have salmon, also a good food for testosterone. And then eggs, one more time. And then the plant-based sources, sweet potato and carrot. Carrot was always recommended for vitamin A, but you see there are plenty of other better options of vitamin A. So after all these minerals and vitamins, these are the ones that I call the testosterone superfoods. Why? Because they're easy to get and they are cheap. We can eat them on a regular basis. That's why I don't include oysters. Again, oyster can be included in this list, but because of the price, I prefer to put these other foods. And this is recommended amount of food that you need to take every day, especially for boosting the testosterone. And then, well, you will see how you fit them in your diet. So, as I told you, eggs, testosterone superfoods, because of the cholesterol, the vitamins, and the minerals. If you can get at least 4 eggs a day, that would be amazing. As we are recording this video, February 2021, this week came another study, because there are plenty already, that says that the more eggs we consume a day, the less risk of heart disease we have. So the opposite what they've been telling us all our life. So eggs, if you can eat 4 per day, it's going to be a good amount of cholesterol for boosting your testosterone. Then we have liver. Any animal source is fine. If you can eat every day, well, awesome. If you can eat a couple of times a week, that would be great. What's the thing with liver? Many people don't like the taste, as it's quite strong. So liver pate is a really good option, but make sure it's done with good quality oils, or easy, just do it at home. You can do it putting liver, onion, and some spices. You mix them and you get a high quality liver pate, testosterone superfood, and you can eat it with any meal. So liver, a really good testosterone booster. Then we have the Brazil nuts. As I told you, that will depend on your weight, your size, but just as a general recommendation, make sure you don't eat more than 4 per day, as you will have too high selenium levels that can be dangerous. And what's the thing with Brazil nuts? Just find this recently. If you can leave them soak in water for a couple of hours, or you can bake them before eating them, or you bake in advance and you eat them. Why? Because they have a thing called phytic acid that this inhibits the absorption of selenium. So that's why it's important to do any of these procedures to eliminate the phytic acid and increase the selenium absorption. So again, depending on your goals, between 1 and 4 Brazil nuts per day is a good option. They taste the same, like it's a mix between an almond and a walnut, if you haven't tried them yet. And they're a little bit expensive, but they're really worth it. So make sure you include them on your regular basis. And the last one, dark chocolate. As I told you, if it can be 85% cacao or more, up to 99%, that's awesome. If you are not used to and you want to try, you can start with 70% cacao and little by little increase gradually the percentage. Of course, in the past I didn't like it. The taste was kind of bitter. I started trying gradually, and now eating cacao, chocolate 99% cacao is amazing. It's really enjoyable, especially a cup of coffee in the morning or before bed. be careful, can have some caffeine if you're sensitive. So if you're sensitive to caffeine, better consume it during daytime. So again, these 4 foods I will recommend you to include on regular basis. And then we go to the lifestyle changes. So if you are sedentary, if you are not too active, okay, try to start doing any kind of physical activity as walking, especially strength training, lifting weights might boost your testosterone levels. What's the thing here? Long workouts that exceed 60 minutes can be detrimental for your testosterone, as after 1 hour of intense workout we start producing cortisol. That was also an issue that I used to have. I didn't realize, and I work out every day up to 2-3 hours, so that's why the testosterone levels were going down. So it's better quality than quantity. So high intensity interval training is a really good option for workout, and if you want to combine this one with strength training, awesome. You can change different sessions during the week, but make sure you don't exceed this time. Then if you work inside, you don't get enough sunlight, well, that can be a real issue for many things and for testosterone. So make sure you get sunlight, you get vitamin D. If you have to work inside, yes on the computer, well, make sure your room is next to a window and you can get as much sunlight as possible. And in any break or when you have time for lunch or whatever, make sure you go for a walk and get more sunlight. Then we have people watching porn. That is so easy nowadays. You open the internet and, well, actually this is the worst for your testosterone. This reduces the testosterone levels. And what's the advice? Well, just do it with real people, to have more social and sexual connections with real people, and this will boost your testosterone levels as well. Then we have people snacking and eating every 3 hours. Well, again, this is really bad, not only for testosterone but for many other things in the body. So try fasting. I don't recommend you to fast for many days. No, just fasting at least 12 hours since the last meal until your first meal the other day. It's quite easy to achieve, and then increasing gradually 14, 16 hours every day, maybe more, maybe less. But fasting on a regular basis will boost your testosterone levels. So just try it and be patient. Of course, it's not from one day to another. You have to give time to the body that get used to this process. Then this is really usual as well, sleeping late and don't having a routine, waking up at different times, sleeping at different times. Well, this is a really common issue, and the best, this will prevent us to have a good quality sleep. So the best advice would be create a sleeping routine. Try to go to bed every day at the same time, waking up every day at the same time. It doesn't matter if you work or you're on a weekend or a free day, try to do it, and that way you will fix your circadian rhythms and your sleep gonna become better. Remember, as I told you at the beginning, testosterone is usually produced while we sleep. That's why it's important a good quality sleep. And the last one, not enough water, so dehydration and alcohol can fit here. So the fix, easy. Drink plenty of water, especially during daytime. So a good estimation of how much water you might need per day is your total weight in kilograms divided into 20, and that will give you the amount of liters per day. So let's say you weigh 80 kilos, you divide into 20, gives you 4. You need around 4 liters of water a day. That might sound a lot, and yeah, you know already that we're 65 to 70% water, so we need water on a regular basis, especially if we work out, if we sweat, if it's too hot. Make sure you consume enough water. And these are some unconventional tips which might sound weird. If you want to try them, I encourage you to try and experiment. Otherwise, with the other piece of advice, you will find it beneficial as well. But this is if you want to sun your testes for 10 minutes, this is can boost your testosterone levels. I never tried it, but I know it works. So if you want to try it, if you have a big garden and nobody will see you, just go for it. Then another one is don't wear underwear or use loose underwear. Why? There are two different kinds of underwear. The one that are super tight and the one that are more like a short, loose. Imagine we wake up, we dress, we put this tight underwear, and we might be 10, 12 hours with the same underwear, and our testes are not able to breathe. They are compact there, and that's not good for our testosterone. So the advice is just leave them free so they can breathe some air. So that's a good advice that will impact your testosterone. And these other two, and there was another one that I forgot that I will mention: chopping wood, doing an extreme sport. I don't know exactly the mechanism, and I think I included on the references that this boosts your testosterone, maybe because increase of adrenaline. I don't know exactly why, but this can boost your testosterone. And the other one that I forgot to include is having a pet. Why? Because there are many studies that I will include on the notes that show the relationship on having a pet with reducing the cortisol levels, reducing stress. So when we reduce stress, we increase testosterone. But again, of course, your pet has to be somebody that gives you benefits, not a pet that is breaking your house, eating your sofa. So yeah, that will lower your testosterone. So make sure you have a pet that you enjoy and that helps you relax and you enjoy the company, not the other way around. So a cat, especially a dog or whatever pet you like, might help you with the testosterone and reducing the cortisol levels. So in a nutshell, the takeaway home, just the final comments and the final thoughts. Testosterone not only affects our sexual life, but it's important for the whole body. As we've seen, there are many health issues related to lack of testosterone. Our everyday choices affect our hormones, so it's in us. We have the power of changing our reality with our habits, with our food choices, with our lifestyle, with our social interactions, by doing practices as yoga and meditation to reduce our stress levels. So, as I was telling you, food, exercise, sleep, and social connections are vital for a balanced and healthy lifestyle. And as I told you in the beginning, our ancestors already knew the importance of testosterone. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here if this wasn't real. So they knew it already. And here are all the references that I mentioned. I will include them on the notes, so you can go and make your own research if you like to. And thanks so much for giving me your precious time. You can find me on my website, meditation.net, or on social media that I'm not too active, so better on my website. Here's my email, so if you have any questions, please write me, send some comments below, and I will be more than happy to help you. Thanks so much, and see you soon.